it going, everybody? It's Josh, or Carpo, whichever you prefer. I'm going to do this video here because I've got a moment to relax in my own house without the kids in here. And generally it's pretty noisy. And that's why I'm usually out in the garage, but I've got when I make my videos anyway, I have to go, to a quiet place. So I have a couple minutes, and as I was sitting here, I kind of didn't know what to do. Not when I was just sitting here, but I mean, I've been doing a few projects around the house and whatnot, but the kids, I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old son, and they went over to Grandma's today, and they don't usually go over there. She doesn't live too far, but she usually comes over here. But she's been taking them over there now. So they left, my wife's at work, and I have the house to myself. And it really gives me some time to get a few things done and to get a few quiet moments. But what I always realize when it happens is that those quiet moments aren't so quiet, in the sense of, if you're a parent and you have a regular schedule with your children, it's very hard to break away from that and to just relax. Likewise, it would be difficult for a person who is single and, partying all the time to jump into a parent role and take on responsibility. It's just like work. If you're not working and you picture going to work, it seems like a drag. Once you're there, it's not that big of a deal. You might even, forget how much camera ran out of space again. I've got to check these things. I get on a flow and then all of a sudden I lose it. So anyway, we get into these roles of doing things to where it's a routine from a person to look from the outside and think, how does the person handle their situation? If you're working, work becomes normal. If you're not working becomes normal. Whatever your norm is in life is what you're going to, it's what you're going to notice. It's going to be what your brain is going to wire itself to do. They call it neuroplasticity, is what the technical term for it is. It's if you're an artist, your brain wires towards art. If you're a musician, your brain wires towards music. And so when you're in that parental role, you're wired towards that. In other words, it's not as difficult as a person may think it is from the outside. Like, how can this person handle all these kids? For me, I look at a person with, say, 5 or 6 kids and think, God, how do they do it? There was a time when we had, my other teenage son, who is out of the house now, living here, and plus my 2 other kids and the 3 dogs and the 4 cats. Okay, that became a little bit hectic and overwhelming. Since then, we had to get rid of one of the dogs because he was a nuisance, and the other one was a Shar-Pei that passed away. She got sick, she was old. We took her in as a rescue dog. And so now we have 1 dog, 3 cats, 2 kids, and us, and that's still packed in here. But that's another thing, is that when you have a lot of people in a small area, you become accustomed to that. It's not a big deal to you. It's just like, I hear people say, how do Mexicans do it? They go live they all pack into these houses, and then when they're working in the fields, they're staying in these little tiny 1-room things, and they have a bunch of people packed in there. It's just what they do. It's just in their culture. They maximize their space. We waste a lot of space. I got about 1,000 square feet here, if I include part of the garage, let's say. I mean, it's like 900 square feet. The house is small. 3 small bedrooms, 1.5 bath. And the kitchen's kind of connected. Give you a little tour here. See? There's the kitchen over there. TV, fireplace, records, front yard, all that stuff. It's a very small house. It's humble, but it works for me. And some people who have a lot more space don't, I mean, they don't think they could handle, like, you know, being packed into a smaller area. But I look around and it seems big to me. At least it does right now without the kids here. It's a lot bigger without the kids here. It's amazing what your brain will wire itself to do and accept. It becomes the norm, so parenting is my thing right now, you know. Parenting, and in the meantime I'm learning, you know. Since I screwed my back up 5 years ago, I worked through it and just suffered with sciatic pain for 5 years trying to keep doing construction. And this last episode was just, it was done. I can't lift, I can't haul, I can't do the labor I used to be able to do. And as long as I don't do labor, I'm fine. So I have to do heavy lifting with my mind, and it's difficult because I want to work, you know. I've become accustomed to hard work. I like to get things done, so when I have to pause because something's too heavy and I know better, I didn't used to pause at all, but now I do. I try to lift properly, but it doesn't matter. I just can't lift heavy things. And I accept that. You know, that's just part of my life now. So, I don't know. I guess the point that I wanted to make was just that as we all diverge on our separate paths and move into different realms of neuroplasticity and our brains wired towards certain things, we have to remember that our neighbors go through the same thing, and that no matter how similar we look on the outside, even though we look totally different, we look more similar on the outside than we do on the inside. Let's put it that way. People look around and say, oh, you know, different races, different cultures, different hair colors, sizes of people, facial features. Those similarities, I mean, those differences go away when you compare the internal dialogue of each person, because that's the one thing we can't compare. I mean, think about it for a minute, you know, really think about it. Like, how different are we? What aspects of us do we share? You know, you may not agree with someone, but they may be at a different point in their life where they need to feel a certain way. You know, it's these little realizations that bring us to a better understanding of, I guess, who we are and what level of tolerance we're willing to have for those around us. I try very hard to be tolerant of everyone, and you know, there are compromises along the way, because you know, I understand that each person's been, you know, grown into whatever mindset they're in, and you know, if they're a parent, if they're politically leaning towards one direction, inclined towards being obsessed with cars or identifying themselves with clothing, whatever it may be, people are different, and often we overlook the similarities internally because of the differences on the outside. Because we can't see the similarities. Hope that makes sense. And hope you all have a great day. I'm going to finish this video now before I keep going.